Good evening. It is Iron Carr. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. For many weeks now, we have been exploring subjects which I have hoped have enabled you to enhance your life. We've spent many weeks on happiness, but it has been drawn to my attention that if you are not in the right and correct frame of mind, or circumstances have not lent themselves to your being in a good frame of mind, it may seem impossible for you to find happiness in your life. There are times in your lives when you experience deep sorrow, troubling times, times when you may have lost your job, times when your relationships with your significant others may not be as good or as pleasant as they once were, times when you would have lost someone dear to you through transition into the higher form of life, into the spirit plane. There may be times when you are sick or ill, and then the words that I have spoken to you may not resonate as well within your being as they do when you are in a relatively good frame of mind and anxious to only increase your happiness, or anxious to find happiness in a life that is not terrible. But what do you do when you reach a method of thinking, a point of thinking and being in which you have descended into the doldrums of life? When you are in a state of mind that is not conducive to easily transitioning to happiness, when you perceive that there is nothing to be happy about in your life, that there is only one bad thing after another, how do you turn your life around? And so I would like to spend some time in considering ways to turn your life around. When you reach a point in your life where everything you look, everywhere you look, seems to have a dark cover over your eyes and your mind, that there seems to be nothing to be happy for, nothing to be thankful for. It is merely a matter of perception. And you may say to me that that is easy for me to say, because I am not a part of the physical world. But I have been there. I have been through incarnations where I reached the depths of despair. And I will be honest, I did not always easily bring myself out of the depths of despair. When you are in the depths of despair, when all you see is negative, when life does not seem to hold any promise for yourself, it becomes most literally the important time to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. And that is an interesting statement, because obviously you cannot lift yourself higher by pulling on your boots. But it is a metaphor for what you must do when you are literally mired in mud. If you were forced to walk across the muddy plain, which many others had also trod before you, after there had been a great rain and there was nothing but dirt, and that dirt became more and more mud, so that with every step your shoes became coated with mud and became heavier. And if at some point you stepped in a spot that was particularly soft, it may sink very low. And by the simple movement of lifting your legs, you would be unable to move anywhere. You could not move forward, you could not move back. You were stuck in the mud. And I do not know if any one of you have ever been in that situation. But the truth of the matter is, when you are stuck in the mud, the only way to get out is to pull up on your own bootstraps. You must bend over and grab your foot or your boots and literally pull that foot out of the mud. You may not even be able to get the foot in the boot out of the mud. It may be necessary for you to remove your shoe from the boot and leave it in the mud until you could pull it out yourself at another time, or by standing with your foot, which is now unshod, also in the mud in a different spot, you would be able to get the leverage to remove your boot from the mud. And so that is literally pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, perhaps more correctly stated as pulling yourself out by your bootstraps. There are times in life, in many situations, where it will appear that you cannot make progress. Life does not seem to be giving you the opportunities in the moments that you need. And it is up to you then to manufacture those movements, to bend over and seize your foot or your boot with both your hands and seek to remove it physically from where it is currently. You must, on a metaphorical level, grab your own mind and decide where you wish it to be. You must decide what perception serves you best, to remain in the depths of despair or seek to transform that perception, that there is no way out, there is nowhere for you to go, that you will always be stuck in the same spot. Metaphysically, you know that nothing remains the same. Everything changes in life. The rocks do not remain the same. They are worn down by the winds and the rains, and they change shape. Mountains grow higher. Valleys become broader. Mountains become smaller. People are born. They turn into children, and then teenagers, then adults, and they grow old, and they die. There is not one of you on the physical plane who can stop the process of change. So what makes you believe that things will never change for you? That you will be eternally rich, or that you will be eternally poor? Opportunities will come and opportunities will go. And it will be up to you to seize the moment and to seize your mind and your perceptions to bring about the greatest good for yourself. When you are in the depths of despair because you have lost a loved one, because you have lost your job, there is no financial way to see your way out as you look at your life. It is time for you to say, this is all an illusion. Or while I cannot see the way out, I know there will be changes coming for me because that is the way of the world. Change is inevitable. When you are stuck in the mud, it will someday stop raining and the mud will begin to dry, and it will release your hold, its hold upon you and your boot. And if you cannot remove it today, you will be able to remove it tomorrow. If you are in pain or suffering because of your perceptions of a loss, or your despair because the world is not the way you want it to be, it is important to remember that you can change that thought. You can change that thought ever so gradually. For I will be the first to admit that you cannot change a thought of utter despair to one of great optimism in a single day or a single moment. It is possible, but rarely done. On a practical level, you need to change it little bit by little bit.